G'day YouTube. How you going, YouTube? The sun's over the yardarm, YouTube. And I'm going to try and make a clip that I've been threatening to make for quite a long time. This is a movie about gun theory versus God theory. And it's a personal viewpoint of mine. It doesn't derive from any particular religious teaching, although it may just be kind of the distilled essence of a few different religious teachings. Now, it seems to me that for at least 5,000 years, and perhaps 10,000 years, all the world's most respectable God theories have taught a variation of thou shalt not kill, or thou shalt kill not. Some of the later variations have been do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If somebody strikes you on one cheek, turn the other cheek, let him hit you again. It is better to be non-resistant. That famous Greek Socrates said, it is better to suffer evil than to commit evil. And these teachings, apparently, in my observations, rely on the fact that there is some kind of cosmic scoreboard effect in operation, such that anybody who does stuff that is forbidden, or not forbidden, it's an available option, but it has horrible consequences and you're warned against it. Anybody who does that sort of stuff gets the horrible consequences. Yeah, they who live by the sword shall die by the sword. These observations are thousands of years old, and they're sufficient to convince some people that they don't need weapons because they've got a powerful God theory which will keep them safe. There are other people who go through an enormous amount of ritual and ceremonial behaviour and obeisance to convince themselves and each other that they do in fact believe in a powerful God theory, but yet they place their trust in weapons, in arms, in standing armies, in defensive practices. They'll go to bed at night and get down on their hands and knees and they'll pray to their God theory and ask to be kept safe during the night in the hope that they'll wake up the next morning, and they'll get up in the morning and they'll buckle on a gun, or they'll secrete a knife in their sock, so that if their God theory can't keep the forces of evil from terrorising them during the day, they will have the option to whip out a weapon and kill, or attempt to kill, whoever or whatever it is that they fear may materialise. To me, the idea that you can believe or parrot platitudes to the effect that you believe in one God, the Father, the Almighty, the maker of heaven and earth, the maker of all things seen and unseen, and then decide that you need to carry a weapon so you can shoot at anything which you imagine might be dangerous that may show up in your day. You don't know who you want to shoot or what you want to shoot, but you've got to carry a gun. That to me is a non sequitur. It's like the God theory you have when you haven't got a God theory. What is the point of having a God theory that can't keep you safe from all dangers? Window dressing? Social club? Something to do on nights when you don't want to sit at home and talk to the family? You run off to a church meeting? Like, is it diversional therapy from reality? Is that what those God theories are? I don't know. I really don't understand it. And you get people who are absolutely devout, spend hours of their day thinking about how much God loved the world, how much beauty and elegance is contained in anything that's alive in order to make it alive and keep it alive and allow it to repair its aliveness and reproduce its aliveness. Yet they feel that their all-powerful God theory might just fail them, so they've got to keep a gun in their back pocket. I do not believe it. Well, I mean, I know it's happening, but I don't understand it. You know, like when I was an atheist, yes, I had 9 guns on the wall, and I used to practice all kinds of quick-draw manoeuvres so I could get a semi-automatic people gun off my left shoulder in 3/4 of a second faster than I could get it off my right shoulder, and that's how I noticed that serious professionals carry their guns slung on their left shoulder with the muzzle pointing down. Only imitation chocolate soldiers carry their guns over their right shoulder with the muzzle pointing up so it can fill up with dust and rain. It's on your left shoulder, the sling's already on your arm when you raise it. I mean, I've been a paranoid gun freak. I understand that headspace, but when I was in that headspace, I didn't believe that there was any cosmic scoreboard effect. I didn't believe that there was anything but what you could get away with and what you could imagine beforehand and take measures to prevent. I've lived in a godless universe. I lived in it for 10 years. Pretty scary place, living in a universe where there's nothing but you and your friends and maybe your nation to keep all of the imaginable dangers at bay. I know what it's like. Bloody awful. I don't understand why anybody would want to have all the restrictions that go with having a God theory and then have a God theory that's powerless. It's like, what is the point of that? Who wants a powerless God theory? Admittedly, you let yourself in for a powerful God theory, you have to keep the rules. So, there's really only the big 10, you know, the ones that Moses brought down. There's variations on those, there's extrapolations and extensions of them. But it boils down to not being selfish. You know, the one true sin, the one true Satan, is not a bloody spiny-headed devil with a pitchfork and a barb on the end of his tail living under a volcano. It's selfishness. It's putting your selfish wants above other people's needs. Selfishness. And we live in a world where selfishness is not only normal and de rigueur, but it is applauded greatly in the media. People who make as much money as possible are considered clever. The damage they do to the environment, the misery they inflict on other people in the making of that money is never politely talked about. But I would say they must have a powerless God theory to want to be that selfish, because they think there's only the here and now. Whoever dies with the most toys wins. You can't possibly want to be rich in a world where people are starving unless you think there is no tomorrow. If you think there's no cosmic scoreboard effect, well, whatever you can get away with is fine. If you've got a God theory that's worth, as I put it inelegantly, if your God theory is worth a pinch of shit to the compost heap, who would want to be rich? Who would want to carry a gun? Answer, people with powerless God theories. What is somebody with a powerless God theory? They're either a professed avowed atheist or they are a secret closet behavioural atheist. You know, the sort of person who turns up to the church and chants the Apostles' Creed and then puts their hand in their pocket to donate, to pay the premium for the insurance policy to cover the roof of the church against storm and tempest for the day that the powerless God theory can't steer a thunderstorm. That's the kind of God theory which requires you to have a gun. It's the kind of God theory which makes you think, oh, somebody said something horrible about my religion, I'd better go out and shoot him. It's the God theory that sees something you don't understand and makes you pull your army boots on and go and shoot everybody you think might be the bad man. There's a lot of that sort of God theory going. I don't see the point of it. If you're going to have a God theory that is infantile and powerless, why would you want one? It was life close up watching a God theory like that that turned me off God theories for 10 years. God theory and gun theory do not mix. If you feel the need to have a firearm to defend yourself against potential dangers, you don't actually have a functional God theory. It's a harsh judgment on my part, but as far as I can see, it's the truth. You know, it is self-evident. If your God theory is worth a pinch of shit to the compost heap, you do not need a weapon to defend yourself with. If your God theory commands thou shalt not kill, turn the other cheek. It is better to be non-resistant and somebody comes up and actually physically attacks you. If you are non-resistant, then your God theory can see who to hit with a lightning bolt. Zap, pow, the aggressor's gone. If you raise a fist against the attacker, then your God theory sees two violently doubtful atheists squabbling over which one is stronger, which one is nastier, which one is deadlier. So I would expect any competent, benevolent, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent God theory to back off and let the two violently doubtful warrior atheists slug it out to their own conclusion. At the mercy of raw ballistics, perhaps modified by cosmic scoreboard effect depending on how old they are and how long they've had to recognise the bullshit in the catechisms and the cultures that they were taught in infancy and childhood, because that's where a lot of these wrong ideas come from, the crap we're taught as kids. As little children, we are taught to venerate nation, flag, military tradition, ancestral tradition, regardless of the rights or wrongs of the circumstances. I was raised to believe that my grandfather was a great person because he had gone and, well, I believed, flown and fought in the First World War. Nobody told me when I was a little kid that a New York newspaper once ran a competition in the 1920s to come up with the world's craziest newspaper headline. And the winner of the $10,000 prize for writing the world's craziest headline was Archduke Ferdinand found alive and well, Great War fought by mistake. Yet the Germans had got me dones moulded onto their belt buckles, and the Allies enlisted for God, King and Country. Thou shalt not kill. It is that simple. You can't have a gun theory and a God theory in the same head. One of them's got a rule. Either you've got a God theory, a powerful God theory, or you're paying lip service to a powerless God theory. Kidding yourself, but you're not kidding the creator of the universe, are you? You're not kidding the fates, the ancient Greek ladies who sit in a cave with one eyeball between them, and one of them spins the thread of your life, and one of them measures it, and the other one cuts it off. You're not kidding the great wheel of karma. You're not kidding the cosmic scoreboard effect. You're not kidding your guardian angel. You're not kidding your recording angel. You've got to shit or get off the pot. If you're going to have a God theory, you might as well have a powerful God theory, and that means thou shalt not kill, so you don't need weapons. No bullshit. When I got a God theory, I got rid of all of my guns. That was in 1987. I'm still here. I still believe. I still have faith. And when I see the fundamentalist Christians and the fundamentalist Muslims slugging it out on the street because somebody called the other one's God theory a crock of shit, I find it difficult not to laugh, sad though it is, because they don't want to learn, they don't want to know. But you have the option. It's a free world. Ciao.